There was a time when your presence was taken for granted. Your efforts were unnoticed. Your value was assumed but never appreciated. You were just there, easily replaced. Or so they thought, until one day you were gone, and everything changed. You showed up day after day, moment after moment. You showed up with your time, with your energy, with your love, and with your consistency. But in a world obsessed with drama and excitement, your stability became boring. Your silence was mistaken for weakness, your loyalty for neediness, and so you slowly became invisible. You were always available, always saying yes, always compromising, always making things easier for everyone else, but never for yourself. You thought loyalty would make people stay. You thought kindness would be appreciated. You thought love would be enough. It wasn't, because what is constant is often seen as replaceable. What is always there is rarely respected. This is the beginning of every Stoic journey. The realization that being good is not the same as being valued, and that being present is not the same as being appreciated. She stopped trying, stopped showing gratitude, stopped showing up for you. Why? Because you made things too easy. You made her comfortable. But comfort breeds contempt. You gave without demand. You offered without question. You stayed, even when she started pulling away. You tolerated her coldness. You endured her silence. You justified her disrespect. Why? Because you believed she'd come around. Because you thought she was just confused. Because you loved her. But love without boundaries is self-destruction. And a man without standards is not respected, he's used. One day, you looked in the mirror and saw someone you barely recognized. Tired, drained, angry, not at her, at yourself, for allowing it. For lowering your worth, for betraying your own soul just to keep someone else comfortable. This is the Stoic moment of truth. The mirror doesn't lie. The soul rebels, and the man awakens. No more chasing, no more waiting, no more trying to fix. What is clearly broken, you realize. It's not your job to convince anyone of your worth. It's not your role to entertain someone's confusion. And with that clarity, you walk away. Not to hurt her, not to make her miss you, but to honor yourself. At first, it's quiet. She thinks you're just being dramatic. She expects you'll come back, because you always did. But days turn to weeks, weeks to months, and your silence grows louder than any words you ever spoke. She starts to notice your absence changed. The energy, the conversations are dull without your mind. The room feels colder without your warmth. Her victories feel emptier without your support. She scrolls through old photos, reads old messages. She starts remembering not who you were at the end, but who you were all along. The calm, the anchor, the one who stayed when others left. And then, it hits her. You weren't replaceable. You were the standard. Eventually, she reaches out a message, a hey, I miss you, just checking in, but you've changed. Not out of bitterness, not because you want revenge, but because you grew. You built yourself in the silence. You read, you healed, you trained, you discovered who you are, without the noise of her validation. And now you respond with calm, with strength, with boundaries, not to punish, but to protect your peace. She starts to panic. She thought you'd be there, waiting. She thought you'd reply instantly. She thought she still had that power. But the version of you she's reaching out to, no longer exists. This is the essence of Stoicism. You don't react, you observe, you detach, you choose. The emotional man begs, pleads, argues. The Stoic man, he simply walks and never looks back. Because detachment is not about hatred, it's about clarity. You realized you don't need validation to feel valuable. You don't need affection to feel whole. You don't need permission to grow. You became everything she thought she didn't need until you were gone. Now, she sees you in every man she meets, but never finds you again. Because you cannot replace peace. You cannot replace presence. You cannot replace a man who has mastered himself. When you walked away, you didn't walk into darkness. You walked into power. You started building your mind, sharper than ever. Your body, stronger than before. Your purpose, finally clear. Your peace, untouchable. You made solitude your sanctuary. You made silence your strategy. You made suffering your fuel. The world now sees a different man, one who doesn't chase, one who doesn't beg, one who doesn't settle. And the most powerful part, you never needed to prove anything. You just disappeared, and your absence did the talking. There comes a moment when she truly sees it. You were never weak, you were never boring, you were never replaceable. She simply failed to understand the value of stability. She confused your calm with passivity. She thought your silence was emptiness. Now, she knows that silence was depth, that calm was discipline, that presence was power. But it's too late, because once a Stoic man detaches, he never returns to the chaos he healed from. So, what do you learn from all this? Never confuse being wanted with being valued. Some want your presence, not your soul. Never lower your standards to earn someone's attention. If they don't meet you at your level, let them go. Silence is not weakness. It's the highest form of self-respect. The man who can walk away holds the most power. Detachment is not about lack of carrots, about control. You're not here to prove your worth. You're here to live it. The strongest message you'll ever send is absence, and the right people will never risk losing you again. You were replaceable until you were gone. Let that truth echo not just in her mind, but in every relationship you enter, because you now carry a different energy, a silent strength, a grounded power. You are the man who no longer needs to explain himself, who doesn't chase approval, who doesn't fear being alone. You are the man who found himself by losing everything that once made him forget who he was. This is not about revenge, it's about remembrance. Remember who you are, remember what you offer. Remember that your silence, your standards, and your self-respect are not up for negotiation, because once you leave don't return, not out of pride, but out of principle. You were replaceable until you were gone, and now you are unforgettable.